stay tuned to find out how to do this autumn tree picture in watercolour. I'll teach you how to do wet in wet distant trees, the lost and found technique to create these natural shadows underneath, how to create a reflection in water, and how to do these fantastic ripples. Off we go. Okay, so I thought we'd have a look at some autumn sort of distant trees today. So I'm going to pop in a little bit of a riverbank, a little bit of a field there, and then I'm going to pop in a few rough shapes of trees. So we're just going to start to get that feel of how to do distant autumn trees. Nice and simple. Some bigger, some smaller. Put a little bit of a bank in this side so you've got a sense of foreground as well. There's going to be some tweaks to the colours of paints that I use. As you go into autumn, one of my favourite times, you do get different colours coming in. Less fresh, so the addition is going to be alizarin crimson. So out comes permanent rose and rose madder, and in comes alizarin crimson. It's the perfect autumn colour. So I've just wet that area. I'm going to use a little bit of cobalt blue. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a blue sky in here. You can come over the trees, no problem at all. I'm going to show you some wet in wet techniques to create the trees, and then I'm also going to show you how to create the lost and found edges. Which is a really useful technique. So I haven't come all the way down to the bottom, but it doesn't matter, you could come all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to start round number 10, loaded with water. I'm just going to dip in to some burnt sienna. So burnt sienna, a great autumn tree colour, but it's one that I use all year round. So what you want is a variety of heights on these trees. And a variety of colour. So I'm just dabbing on. Rinse my brush. I've taken the water off and I've come into alizarin crimson. So I don't want too much water on because I don't want it to flow too far. So again, a perfect autumn colour. In fact, when it mixes with the blue, it creates that sort of purpley colour, which works really nicely as well for autumn. That sort of purpley, burgundy colour that you get on the trees. Rinse that off again, and then I'm going to pick up, this one looks like raw sienna, but it's actually gamboge yellow. So we're going to have a little bit of the gamboge yellow coming through as well. I'm just looking for a variety of different tones to be happening. If I dip straight into the alizarin crimson from a brush with gamboge yellow, that's going to make more of a orangey colour as well. So you start to get a really nice effect. I'm going to take a little bit more alizarin crimson into this one. So it's blended quite a lot and I want this to be stronger. This is the biggest tree. So I'm just going to dab that through again. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of sepia. So sepia, burnt umber, a mixture of ultramarine and burnt sienna, all of those would work. And you can just dab a little bit of that towards the bottom in places. And that's going to give a really nice edge as well. So it's already got a really nice autumn feel. So then if I rinse my brush out and load it with water, I'm going to touch the paint in places but miss others. So I'm pushing my brush down, I'm going all the way along. So this is my round number 10. I'm going to load it with water again. I'm hitting places and missing places. Now this is lost and found edges, because you're losing some of the edges and you're finding others. That also gives you a really easy way to get a sense of shadow and grounding on this bank here. So you're pushing the brush down, so this is the flatness of the paper, you're pushing the brush down, but your paint is touching here. You're only slightly touching the paint, but you're wetting all the way there, and that then gives it somewhere to flow. Okay, so if I just come on to this bit here, this foreground section, I'm just going to pop a little bit. I've got sap green here, a little bit of sap green, and I'm going to dab into a little bit of the gamboge yellow, just so I've just got a little bit of something happening down here. Okay, I'm going to dry that off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. So I've already now got the softness and shadow starting to happen on this bank by the river. So I'm using my round number 10. I'm going to pop a little bit of water onto that. I'm going to pop a little bit of sap green. So we're going to take it up. It's actually quite nice if you leave odd little bits of white showing. It looks like the light's shining through. So don't worry if you leave an odd little bit of white. Don't take the sap green too strong, and if you want to knock it back, because it's now a cooler time of year, then you're going to use a little bit of burnt sienna in it. So burnt sienna is a really good colour for knocking back green and making it look much more natural and less fresh. So I've got a really nice bank appearing there. This side with the gamboge yellow in is a lot warmer, and that's given me a sense of distance. Okay, so if I come on with a bit of water now, this is basically still water and the trees in a simplest form. I am going to show you how I would do the reflections of the trees. If the water was moving, you wouldn't get so much of a reflection. And as we get further into autumn, I'll do some really nice scenes with proper big trees and reflecting into the water. I want you to be careful and get as close as you can to that edge, or you can dry it in between. I've not dried in between today. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take some colour in from the sky. You'll notice that I'm going horizontally. Horizontal gives a great surface to water. So that horizontal stroke, just come up to the edge of that bank. Then we're going to start to come in with some of the colours. So we're going to create, as best we can, a mirror image. It doesn't have to be exact. You can get away with quite a lot with water reflections. If you struggle to see a mirror image, then turn it sideways. If you turn it to the side, it's a bit like when you did the butterfly prints as a child. When you turn it to the side, you can see it better when you fold it and go over that way. So that's a bit of the alizarin crimson. And this is a bit of the burnt sienna. So it's about getting the colour on, getting it on fairly quickly because this is wetting wet. And then we can manipulate it a little bit. So this is coming through that area. A little bit of alizarin crimson. You've got a little bit of alizarin crimson in here. A few dabs through here. A few dabs of sepia. Just keep remembering it doesn't have to be totally exact. Rinse my brush off and dab it off. Then what I will do is just take a tiny bit of green as well at the bottom, because you'll have a reflection from the bank that's going to come through there as well. Pop that brush down. I'm going to pick up a flat. So this is a 1 centimetre flat. I've rinsed it to check it's clean. I've dried it off so there's not much there. And what I'm going to do now is break through this with a horizontal stroke. So if it's drying in places, I don't want you to worry, because you're just going to move that paint through in a horizontal stroke and it'll look like there's a slight ripple on the water. Horizontal. Keep the brush horizontal. You can drag down a little bit. Keep the brush horizontal. So you can go straight across. In its simplest form, you can come straight across. You can come straight across and then drag and wiggle down like that, but you keep the brush horizontal. As long as you do that, it will work. You'll get these nice reflections appearing. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the sepia onto the brush. I haven't put any water on there, and I'm just going to bring that closer to the bank. So again, I'm still keeping horizontal and just wiggling the brush, just giving a darker edge on the bank now. The other thing you can do, again, I'm just going to rinse my brush off, make sure it's really dry, is lift out. So you can lift out a stroke of light. See, I'm just lifting out odd strokes of light. You've got to keep making sure your brush is clean. It'll get to a point they'll be too dry to do this, but you can lift out an odd stroke of light as well. Okay, I'll give that a dry off. Okay, so that's nicely dry now. So I've loaded the brush up with water, and I'm just dipping into some cobalt blue. So this is left over from the sky, and I can pop on a few ripples. So this is again keeping the brush flat, horizontal, but I'm dragging slightly down the paper as I'm moving left to right. And this is just going to create a little bit more surface on the water. I'm actually not going to do too much more to this picture, even though I'm very tempted to do it, because I think as a beginner it's really useful to just learn to get to this point. And then you can work to more advanced trees. I think as a distance subject this works really well. Here we go. And there we go, so it's all finished. So this is autumn trees really in its simplest form, with the wet and wet trees in the background. They've got a really nice sense of distance with a lovely method to create the reflection as well. That lost and found edges technique that's along here, which has created the shadow without you actually having to put the shadow in, and grounding of those trees. And then the ripple technique with the flat brush. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll pop another beginner's tutorial here and a beginner's playlist here for you, and I'll see you next time.